Rendering times in Blender is one of the main reasons that people slowly fall out of love with Blender. But oftentimes, those same people aren't optimizing their scene to decrease their render times. Here are 5 rendering tips in Blender 5.0 that are bound to save you some time. Number 1. Camera culling. Everything outside the camera view is still being rendered, which is unfortunately increasing your render times. There's a way to turn all of this off, and the only downside is it may affect the reflections in your scene. But if you don't care about the reflections in your scene, then this tip is perfect for you. So go over to your render settings, open and enable the simplify option, and then enable camera culling. Then select all of the objects in your scene, go to the object properties, and under the visibility tab, hold Alt and enable use camera culling. Holding Alt means that it'll apply the effect to all of the selected objects. Now, anything outside the camera view is automatically hidden. Number 2. 3D models to flat images. High render times often come from unnecessarily high poly counts. Background assets are usually the biggest culprit. People add them and forget to optimize. If an object sits far from the camera, it doesn't need dense geometry, especially with depth of field blurring it anyway. Lower the poly count where detail won't be seen. A neat trick is to render your background elements as flat images and bring them back into your scene as background elements. So just take a look at this scene for example. It's made up almost entirely of flat images, saving a ton of rendering time. The easiest way to do this is to set up your object. Set your camera to face directly at it, and if needed, go to the render settings and under the film tab, enable transparent so that the image renders with a transparent background. Then simply render the image and bring it back into your scene and place it where it looks good relative to the camera. Doing this could turn a few 100,000 faces of a mountain into just one flat image. Number 3. Light groups. Sometimes long rendering times are unavoidable, but the last thing that you want to do after a long render is re-render the whole thing because the lighting feels off. Thankfully, there's a way around this using light groups, which lets us adjust each light in the compositor. To get started, go to the View Layers panel and scroll down to the Light Groups section. Add as many groups as you need. You can do this for every single light in your scene if you plan on potentially adjusting all of them, or just plan to adjust a main few and give them their relative names. Now, select your light and go to the Object Properties panel, open the Shading tab, and under Light Group, assign the light to the group that you created for it. And do this for all of your other groups and lights. For the world lighting, go to the World Properties in the Settings tab, set the light group again, but for the world lighting this time. Now, just render your scene and then head over to the compositor. Add a mix color node and set it to add and duplicate it for as many light groups that you have. You can now use the factor of each of these nodes to control each individual light that you set light groups up for. You can also add a color correction node before any of the mix nodes in order to fine-tune the color. In the render result, simply save your image and now you've avoided re-rendering the whole scene to adjust the lighting. Number 4. Limit texture size. When finding textures for your scene, it can be tempting to go straight to the highest quality option because you want the best quality for your scene, right? Well, a lot of the time we add these super high quality textures that don't even make a real difference, but they add a ton of rendering time. This is especially true for objects that are farther away from the camera. There is no point having an 8K texture on something that you can hardly see in the final render. Now, if you've already set your scene up with a bunch of 8K textures, luckily there's a way to fix it without having to redo all of the materials. Go to the render settings and enable and open the simplify option. Using the texture limit option, set the limit to either 4K or 2K. Using this, you won't have to go and replace each individual texture. Number 5. Render farms. One of the most reliable, safest, and efficient ways to render your scene while also saving time is to use a render farm. A render farm lets you offload your project to powerful external servers. You upload your blend or other project files. The farm splits the frames across many machines, renders them in parallel, then sends the finished frames back to you. This gives you far faster render times without using your local PC's hardware. Here at Drop in Render, we have our very own render farm that does exactly that. By using a render farm, you can submit your project without having to use any of your own hardware. So you're free to use your computer as you normally would, but still have your project be rendered. The setup is super simple. Head over to Drop in Render and download the software. Set up the Blender plugin as normal, and then inside Blender, once you're ready, press Check Scene. If anything flags up, make sure to adjust it and then simply just choose your priority and hit Submit. You can track the progress of your render on the website, on the software, or even on your phone. The link to Drop in Render is down in the description below. If you guys enjoyed, then be sure to like, comment down below, share this out to your friends, and also guys, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.